Um, sorry. Yeah, we're talking about Noah Yuval Harari's cover. It's a picture of a thumbprint, and it's a picture of a thumbprint like mapped out like a computer. The book's about like the idea that AI is going to replace humans, or that we're going to upload ourselves into computers, which is there's reasons why that's just like nonsense. The most simple way to put it is that because of uncertainty and because of like the wave function being included in reality but yet not existing, you can't simulate reality. You can't. We can only map out time as far as I know. Um, Someone can come up with ideas quantum computing, but as far as I know, quantum computing actually isn't that interesting. Um, like, no, yeah, that's not what it is. Like, you can't map out time as another dimension, and that's the way computers necessarily do it. So it doesn't work. There's the fact that you're reflecting on the future is because like the future is actually uncertain, and so you can basically like extract out like a coherent impression from it. Basically, that's what I can kind of think about. Yeah. So no, that you can't put your, but like also you don't have to worry about putting yourself in a computer to live forever. Anyways, you have little faith and actually don't understand what's going on at all. They're like, why can't we fucking put classical mechanics within quantum mechanics? It's like because you guys don't realize that it does. It works, and they realize this. Well, it doesn't work. Like the distinction is completely nonsense because if you get rid of, you can just say that thing doesn't exist, although it's necessary. It's the context for the entire system, which means something. Saying, you know what I mean, means something kind of big. That you can just throw out the uncertainty, throw out like the wave function, just focus on the collapsed state, and then you can apply classical mechanics to it. Obviously, cool, but that's because like classical mechanics is like something smaller. It only works in that specific instance. It only works for that specific. It works for like simulations. It doesn't work for actual like reality. It works for modeling a single confined state with contained variables. Um, which is not. And meanwhile, we have things going on like this is people. This people are going to think I'm applying something more than I am by this because essentially I'm saying that dark matter is just a reflection of something deeper. It's just that like, dude, there's for one, there's like deeper principles under everything. Like there's when people have already come onto this for a long time. It's been kind of like there are Darwinistic principles behind physics. There are mathematical reasons behind those Darwinistic principles that are actually pretty interesting. But like the fact there's a be gone. The fact that there are Darwinistic principles. Not talking to you. I'll talk to somebody outside. Cool. Um, Means that like that there are very very complex things that you can kind of get caught up on and not seeing that like that the relationship between the two things is actually more important than the thing itself, and that if you're actually like for instance scientists nowadays realize they have success doing bioengineering and healing and stuff by like manipulating the large scale goals of groups of cells and things like that and their communication instead of manipulating the parts of cells, which is ridiculous because there's way too much complexity to keep track of. We couldn't for reasons. You know what I mean? So like, and like things like dark matter or things like that. It's like, oh, well, you gotta like, you think you've like modeled dark matter and all the things we haven't figured out yet, but it's like the context for dark matter. You think you've modeled that out? You know what I mean? It's like, you can, but if you have to, you're talking about something that's quantum, and that includes genuine uncertainty, and that's just the only way to get that is just it's just a natural property of infinity basically, because infinity must include a boundary, but you can't have anything outside of infinity, so it's a symmetric identity. This is what quantum mechanics is. It's you have to have a symmetric identity, but it's like okay, if you're talking about two things that are the same, what's the difference between this one and this one? It's a time gradient. It's this one is now, and that this one is like this now. You know what I mean? Basically. And so this one is always never is. It's represented as an orbit, a wave, as potential. And this one is always something that's actualized as a state. And then you also get complications because you have to think about like, wait a minute. Like the whole identity of each one is contained within a context, and we actually call that that's basically what gluons are, because the uncertainty must be included within each state, because like, okay, this must be a reflection of infinity, so this one state must include the states of both the state and the uncertainty must be included in one thing, and that's basically what a gluon is, kind of, very simply. Because once you do that, you basically have genuine uncertainty and volatility. And the process of actually of this contextualization of a system, of exploring its boundary, that's just energy, and that's just naturally happens because it has to include itself in time. That's what time is. You know what I mean? That's what time is, and then it has a physical this boundedness, because then you also create potential, and then also bounded walls for infinity, which is nothing is outside of it, but also that nothingness is potential, which is the wave function that isn't real, but it's also reflection, so you can reflect off reality. But that those dualistic elements are contained within one context, which is just what you're seeing, and then you see night and day, and male and females, and you can reflect off those things to know yourself, explore the external world to know yourself, and then you can learn to love yourself, and then be at heaven before you go to bed, or be at heaven after you die. And then wake up for the resurrection renewed. But those all must fit into coherence. And so, like, if you go to bed before you're ready, you fucking get in hell for a bit. You know what I mean? And that sucks. It's okay. It happens. And I love you guys. And honestly, by the way, you can choose to leave hell anytime you want, if you know what I'm saying. No, I'm kidding. But yeah. So, in that act of this is something else, because I always hear atheists refer to consciousness and use analogies of fire, and I like that analogy because it's consciousness is something. It's the naming element. It's a consumatory element. It brings things into its own direction. Basically, it's also the thing that's saying, like, here now we're stripping potential, this virtual reflection, this potential, the wave, to this action right here, and it's basically that chain. You know what I mean? Of stripping in free energy, basically, from virtual particles in order to create a chain reaction and transform things, basically, in order to metabolize, in order to consume. And the masculine element of consciousness is fundamentally, it's like destructive. If people stay awake for too long, that's why they just start destroying things. That's like the natural state of consciousness with that sleep, is just like, oh, we got to get rid of all this nature. What's this doing over here? Like, you ever see like meth heads just freaking out, start just tearing shit off? It's like, that's because they've been awake for fucking too long. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. Because like the natural state of nature is just to be everything. And people are like, like categorize, box, wall, I guess you might think the wall's not being a destruction, but like, from the perspective of what was there before, I'm kidding. You're like, simple structures now, like a fire, It's like, nice. All this nature is now flat, and I can sit, and I can see now. Isn't that nice? Like, no, but the reason why I'm saying is because like all these things are actual reflection. Like, these are things in a relationship context. Like, you should just understand. Like, first off, if you're atheist, like, you're not religious, like, maybe this is a bad idea because you might fucking act insane. I'll have to deal with that. But, like, you should understand that you're standing within your mind. You know what I mean? But, like, this is, like, just your mind that you're standing in, basically. We have the math to prove it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just a woo argument. That's just the way things are. So, yeah, get used to that. You fucking schizophrenic. Yeah, schizophrenics just fucking realize it because they're like born as Libras. And they're like walking around, and everyone's like, "Did you drink the water today?" And they're like, "Ah!" What? You didn't see the water sign on the water news? And they're like, "Why is this happening 13 times today?" I know you guys say it's fucking random, but everyone's fucking freaking out about water all day. There's fucking water references everywhere. I don't know why there's water references everywhere, guys. It's because you're trying to bring in some fucking holy information from God. And it's too hot. It's because their entire world is backwards and fucking crazy, and you're like a vector for God to turn society over and show them what fucking true health is. And yay, dude. I fucking love the schizos. I love the skits bags, dude. Like, if we replace